Okay. So with that 30-minute chart, when you see this happens a ton, when you see a down shooter candle like
Yep.
that, this pattern, I didn't know this until Rob constantly talked about it. This shooter, hammer shooter, it happens all the
Mm-hmm.
time. So this candle and this candle, they're like an inside bar where nothing's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I would say is when you get a pattern like a 3-1 and you're looking for that and you see it probably worked for a second, right? And then you saw
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the minute you see that wick start to go, you get out because it's probably doing a shooter
It
kind
might
of
do a
hammer.
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where would you like? So you're gonna exit early, so you get out at when it breaks the other side of the body of the
So
one.
yeah, the minute so as it's working, your initial
Mm-hmm.
magnitude really on this particular trade, this is something
Is
else to
there?
watch for, is that little deal, this little wick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's part of the problem too. The minute it comes there, I'm out when I see it
Yeah.
start to reverse. So that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And believe me, we all did this in the beginning. But just be careful of, unless this shooter is at the top of the pattern. So let's say this candle was a shooter right here
Mm-hmm.
with a
Mm-hmm.
base and then you see it reverse down. Yeah, that like it did here, right? So here was your
Yeah.
entry. So that's
Yeah.
what when you see it do one of these deals, just be cautious because it could have worked, but realize that your magnitude right there. I mean, I guess like here too, it really your initial magnitude is there, but it's just not quite as clean because the wick isn't above this guy. See how this one's a
Mm-hmm.
little cleaner?
Oh, for sure. So
Yeah.
where would we be a good re-entry?
So on this one, like all of this, so the minute you get stopped out, then I'm drawing one of these deals and I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying there's nothing going on right here. It's just farting around and trying to, market makers are trying to lure you in. Ultimately, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
it does work. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm patient, I'm patient. I see it bust out that way. I mean, I guess you could have taken it long. I wouldn't have. I would have just sat there and then I would have seen how pretty this is and that next candle, I'm looking for this to happen.
Yeah.
Now here's the only issue. You see how that next one, I mean, if you are you trading options or you're trading stock?
I trade both. For this one, I used stock
You did.
equities.
Okay, yeah. Which is fine. Like you can sit through that. If we're in
Mm-hmm.
options though, that just took out all your gains. That is
Yeah.
why with options in particular, it's not as important with stock because you can sit through some of that. You own the damn stock and you know Netflix ain't going anywhere. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
this is what that's at 14. So that's why I'll always have the one or a smaller time frame close by because I can see what's happening inside this candle and
Mm-hmm.
whether it's going to go against me. And so that's at 1400. So that was what, like right in here ish, I guess, like where it kind of came back
Yeah.
up. So I got in here short, and then the darn thing came back up and went halfway against me. And that's why, though I will sometimes look at these time frames, you know what might help those of you that like to watch the higher time frames because everybody's got the way they see charts. I'm not here to say you have to do it on a faster time frame that's not comfortable. But what you could do, and I'll post this script, there's a script that will put like half an hour or hour candles and wrap them around, let's say, a 5 minute chart so you can see what's happening in that candle.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make some sense?
Oh, it does.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
so that could really help you if you like trading those longer time frames, which there are advantages, right? Because you've got this big old deal that you're ultimately shooting for, and in this case, it went even farther. I mean, that's just beautiful, beautiful,
I go to
beautiful.
the medium time frames, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily hard, to try to avoid the noise on the 1 minute chart because
Mm-hmm.
I usually get there's so much noise and I get wicked out. And
Do
I think
ya?
my with my personality, I'm more of a patient person,
Sure,
so
sure.
I'm trying to trade the hour actually. But then I noticed with Rob's videos, he'll go into the 30 or the 15 sometimes, look for those inside candles.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
and
then
see, so I really like the longer time frame for staying in trade. The problem is you're getting a lot of this right now. Big old
oh
wick.
yeah,
Then you got all these wicks. I mean, that's just you want like a nice clean, and right now I feel like it's a lot of this. You can see it on the one where it's boom 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 boom. It goes your direction, but those aren't always fun to hold, especially if you're in options. Not maybe not as hard if you're in stock, but options traders, boy, all of that ain't fun. So
yeah, most definitely.
the thing, and I agree with you. To get the bigger trades, you've got to watch the higher time frames, or you have to know how to watch the one so you don't get freaked out. And honestly, most people aren't going to do that. The only reason I do, and probably Ray does, is we were taught previous service to use the one. So once that's ingrained in your mind, you know the way it moves. Like I have to
Yeah,
have, yeah, we
I
can't let go of it because we are taught that way.
I
yeah,
see. Yeah, I mean, I'm in another options room,
Yeah,
so I try to keep like with my original stop, and
absolutely.
I'll just let it go, right? And that's my risk I was willing
For
to risk
sure.
on this trade, and I'm just going to keep it there unless see something very compelling. I like your tip about and in this kind of formation, if it goes back against you right away, maybe you can exit a little earlier. But I mean, with my other room, I'm in like 14 positions. I
Sure.
mean, not all of them are day trades or some of them are day trades and swing trades.
Sure.
Some of them
Yep.
are long term, so I just don't want to micromanage every.
Totally get it. Yep. Totally
Yeah.
get it. Because it will. Like, Ray and I have had to work to try to overcome that. But it's so weird as traders how you learn things. And that's why with trading, I get frustrated because so many rooms I've been in or whatever, they'll try to make you be a certain way or do, and you know what, you're an individual, and trading is an individual sport, and it attracts people that I think are very individualistic. So the idea that you're going to trade just like someone else, that's never going to happen.
Mhm.
you,
Mhm.
you can take bits and pieces of what I say, and if it works for you and you can incorporate it, great. Or you may say, okay, I'm going to take what you said, I'm going to look at it this way, but it helped me see it another way. Like I'm not here to tell you that. It's not about me. It's just like, okay, here's the things, and then you take it and combine it the way that works for you. So
Yeah,
I
I
totally
like
get
the
it.
way you mentioned some support and resistance levels. I think that's really. I think you're probably going off support and resistance on the or on trend lines on the one
Yeah,
potentially,
a
but
lot of
I
times,
like
yeah.
support and resistance on a higher time
For
frame. But
sure. Yeah, and I draw those too. So a lot of
mhm.
times in the morning I'll pull back and draw, and I like the daily is my guide. I don't like I can't trade the one without having the daily up because I would have no idea where I'm like in the middle
Yeah.
of space with all this
Mhm.
chaos. You got to have a
Mhm.
higher time frame,
Mhm.
absolutely. But
And you mentioned something about like I would call it the gamma spikes, since you're an options
oh yeah.
person.
Mhm.
So that's really with when the VIX is elevated now,
Mhm.
because and well, compared for the last, like, I guess the last 3 days, it's elevated,
Yeah.
and then these gamma spikes are going to come, especially with like a FANG stock like Apple. You mentioned Apple. We were looking at Apple before
Yep.
when it wicks down, and then that. How do you manage that? Because okay, that gamma spike's coming. I guess it gets good if it's gonna tag your profit target, but I mean, you
Yes.
don't have a stop. You don't have a stop as an option in the
Oh,
system, right?
no, I do. I do always, especially at entry, because with
Mm-hmm.
options, entries and exits will make or break you. They just will. I mean, it's part of the game. So if I take a bad entry, I want to get out quick and with a very little damage. And you know how Rob always says, even with options, you do like a 1 cent stop. Well, I'm not doing a 1 cent stop. You can't really do that, but you can keep them very, very tight. And I will do a stop on my options. So let me,
Do you smash the bid or you go midpoint on your exit?
I go here. I'll show you exactly what I do. Let me pull up, and I'm just gonna